This is the F plus 200th episode of Retrospective, and in the room with me, I've got Boots Raingear.
I can grow a beard.
Yes, you can. John Toast.
I have stole all your megahertz.
Sure. Kumquat's up.
I like whiskey on the internet.
I mean, you like whiskey off the internet. Portex.
What is the meaning of potato?
AC Akawaddle.
It's the how many times you punch, potent times velocity.
And Jack Chick.
Let's all listen to bench press.
Yay.
Great.
I'm
Fuck
gonna
yeah!
pump some metal right now.
So F plus, I brought us all here in the hopes that we could figure out exactly what it is that we've done over the last 6 years, and
Are we all sitting in the corner
and perhaps
thinking about it right now?
perhaps why we've done any of it.
Masturbation.
This call's never going to end.
Right? Yeah.
Is this an intervention? Because you're the one who started this.
No, it is. Well, it's an intervention on all of our parts. So I don't know.
And judging from WikiHow, our interventions don't go all that hot. So
I don't know if this will end up being like a good starter episode to start on, because that's actually something
Good
that
starter
I think,
episode to end on.
that's actually something I think about a lot of where is actually the best place to start, because chronologically it would make sense to start at number one, but we've done a lot of bad episodes at the beginning. I don't know where. If you were coming into this podcast completely blind, knowing nothing about it, I don't know where you would start.
I mean, you say that like we have any more episodes beyond the one about Klingfilm.
It's just always.
Oh, do we? Shit.
Capture that magic. So, I kind of wanted to go through and talk a little bit about, I don't know, the history and why the fuck we do this shit.
right.
So, all of us here in this room, we were all members of Portal of Evil during its heyday, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Was anyone here active?
Yeah.
I was not active.
Yeah.
Profoundly active.
I got people sending me death threats. That's active enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
For the site proper, no. I kind of came into it too late, but I read a lot of the archives and a lot of the stuff about it. Okay. It was just kind of like hey, here's a repository of a bunch of crazy shit. Let me read this.
I submitted stuff on a regular basis, and I got lucky with a couple. The best one was Grandpa Desad. That was me.
I remember that one. That was good.
Oh, snap.
If you're
so you're the one that burned that into my memory.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're not
Thank
familiar,
you.
there was a site. Years back. I want to say 98, probably something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely 98. It might have been 97.
2000, actually, I think.
No, because it was way before 9/11. I remember.
Yeah, it was
there
before
were-
9/11, but I don't think way. But that's
Anyway, whatever,
details. Yeah,
There were definitely sites submitted in 1998.
Sure.
For sure.
But-
But it might have been earlier.
But anyway, so it was a site that was basically, at the time, if you were into looking at weird shit on the internet, there was three factions. There was Portal of Evil, there was Something Awful, and there was FARC. And two of those sites still exist.
I forgot about
Yeah.
FARC.
there was also Ogrish, but that was also terrible, not just weird.
Yeah, Ogrish was for bad human beings.
There's always been the Ogrishes and the style projects and the
Yeah.
Style project.
the yeah. I think yeah.
What's the word for nostalgia when you feel something bad, like the nocebo to the placebo?
That's no exclamation point stout.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, continue.
My.
Just waxing back with shit-colored lenses.
I think the thing that all of us shared in common with Portal of Evil, at least the sentiment amongst most of us, has been that the thing that Portal of Evil had was, yes, it had gross shit on there, but it wasn't gross for gross's sake. There was an extra element of spicy magic somewhere present.
Well,
and there'd be plenty of non-gross stuff too, right?
Yeah, it wasn't all gross. That was the thing. It was sometimes it was you'd look at the latest submitted posts and some of them would be gross, and then other was just be fucking weird. You'd be like, the hell is up with this lady who likes dolphins?
Yeah, the whole thing was basically just a catalog of anything bizarre on the internet. at a time when wood could feasibly do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I remember Chet's motto, Chet being the site operator, but specifically he was aiming to be the Yahoo of the weird. So that kind of dates it as well, but
Right.
and it wasn't just we had weird and awful, but there was insane people, and in fact, I remember the site that actually got me hooked on it to begin with, and you can still find traces of it today. It's just absolutely fascinating. His site was called World's Fastest Greatest. He fancied himself a martial artist, and he was convinced that if you could punch really, really quickly, you would be the best martial artist of all time. By punching really quickly, I mean he was basically waggling his fist.
But he was the greatest at it.
But he was so good that he made a list of the top 10 martial artists of all times, including things like the guy who invented Taekwondo, Cao Chi Chung, Bruce Lee, and he was on it twice. That's how good he was.
Was he there for fastest and greatest?
Yes, he was. I don't know, because back in the Web 1.0 days, there's a certain site, you know it instantly when you see it. The site that is made by a schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rapid, massive font changes, illegible diagrams.
To be fair, that hasn't really changed.
No, and that's something I was thinking about. At one point where, because we were talking about the John Kitchen thing with like all of the fonts and shit like that. And what's interesting is that even though, this is 2016 and there's like thousands of CMSs and they're like really mature, and there's, structures for like getting your shit like placed, appropriately. Lunatics will still completely break it because like they'll look at some sort of like pre-baked, like Squarespace theme and be like, hang on a second.
This is not getting my point across adequately. Yeah. But no, I think it's an interesting, I also vividly remember the thing that got me into Portal of Evil, and that would be Oolong the Rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which wasn't evil at all. It was just adorable.
Right.
So,
and yes, it was weird.
So wait.
And
So
insane.
Oolong the Rabbit. Go.
Sorry. So Oolong the Rabbit, for those of you who tragically don't yet know Oolong the Rabbit, Oolong was a rabbit owned, and I hesitate to use the word owned, but I think he
Cohabitating.
Operated.
Yes. By a Japanese man that was the strangest I have ever seen a Japanese man in a not terrifying way. Like it was very strange in. You kept expecting a shoe to drop, a really gross, disgusting shoe, but it was just adorable.
So
and
what was this guy's thing though? What was this?
This man and his rabbit proceeded on years. It went for years and years of the rabbit balancing things on its head.
Specifically?
Many things.
Dorayaki, which look like pancakes, which is why Dan Lacey does pictures of pancakes all the time.
Yeah.
You may
many
remember the famous. This was before memes, but it was basically what memes look like now. But you may remember the famous internet picture. I have no idea what you're talking about. So here's a rabbit with a pancake on his head.
Yes.
Yep.
And I saw that on forums everywhere back in the day, and that was Oolong.
And so, I remember seeing that somehow, because I came from Old Man Murray, and Portal of Evil is just a weird sidebar site that I would see, and one time I happened to click through, I don't even know what, and saw a rabbit with a pancake and other various objects on its head with Japanese stuff. And I had to know. There was a thing in my brain that did not let me desist until I went through every single one of that damn rabbit's pictures.
Oh, that's
and
where
saw
that came
every
from.
single thing. Yeah.
And you're not the only one because like when Dan Lacey, who is a very talented painter, like discovered Oolong. It changed his life too. It changed his brain. And Dan Lacey has spent 20 years. Like I'm on his Twitter right now, and so here is Barack Obama dressed up as David Bowie with a pancake on his head.
Is he still doing that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, I mean, it's like I remember seeing Dan Lacey himself was a submission to Portal of Evil, drawing this unbearably smug comic that was proselytizing for Christianity, and then suddenly
Catholicism specifically, it was Faith Mouse.
Yeah, and then suddenly pancakes on everything. Yeah,
Yep.
it was. Oh, that comic was so fucking smug. I wanted to strangle him, but and then pancakes.
That's how much of an effect Oolong had on him. He went from Faith Mouse, which was, as Azir said, conservative Christian cartoon like animals, to drawing what he draws now, which is very different.
So the point of all this would be that there was a website that just cataloged all this weird shit, and that's where we all, I guess, came down with the simultaneous sickness of having to look at weird shit on the internet.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have to stay on this one, but one thing I really want to point about Portal of Evil that I think is what attracted it to me at the first place is because, like, we mentioned the other sites, and the thing is, like, Something Awful would find something weird, and they'd send their swarm of stupid nerds after it, and they'd kill the site in a minute.
Yep.
Fark was just stupid.
Right. Well, Fark was the predecessor of Reddit. It was more of a
more
of an all-purpose site.
That's a really good point, actually.
It was very much. I was like 12, 13 when I read Fark, and that's the right age.
Yep.
But what I think is really neat about Portal of Evil is that they have what they call the Prime Directive, and the idea is we link you to the site, but we don't go into their forums or on their page. We don't email them. We don't ask them. The idea is, you think of them as exhibits and you let them be. And sometimes there was some bleed over by some people who were idiots, like some real big stuff. But for the most part, people you could just look at it, and that reminded me. I grew up with MST, and Portal of Evil reminded me of MST in that way, and that it was like watch and ridicule and like marvel at this from afar, but don't like. And but there's still kind of a weird respect there.
That's so important, and something that, like, you know, it's mentioned like in the F Plus a little bit. It's mentioned on Ballpet everywhere, but like I think that's super crucial. Of like that the weirdness exists because it does. And you like trolling people is not making art.
Yeah.
Like that's creating like, and that's like, then that's why like everything about Chris Chan makes me sad, because like Chris Chan is just the
a good example.
The effect of assholes.
Yeah, he would have been an amazing exhibit on Poe back in the day, but such is not the case now.
But I mean, the thing with Chris Chan is that whole like saga. Even if you disregard how utterly and completely gross it got, like it was never as funny as like the Joan Oceans or the Patrick 82s or any of the sort of weirdos who were just left alone to do their own weird fucking thing. Like it ends up being a lot funnier.
Well, and I think it ties back to it's not gross for gross's sake, right? We're not an ogreish that's saying, oh, look at all this, gross shit that's really gross and, we hate it.
Right.
There's an appreciation.
Yeah, there's a beauty in there sometimes. I mean, sometimes there's inhuman monsters.
Yes. Yeah, and in the Oolong case, I remember when I think when Oolong eventually passed, years later, it was a big forum drama of, hey, let's override the Prime Directive in this one case and all send this random Japanese guy like a condolence.
Right.
And that was like a big deal.
Right.
That we interacted.
Oh, I remember
with
that.
Yeah.
I sent him a cartoon of Oolong balancing halos on his head, and then someone on the Poe forums told me to stop trying to get attention. It was pretty great.
It was not a perfect.
Just so you know, the Poe forums were forums.
Right, right, yeah. Like we can look at it with all the tinting, all the rose tinting that we want, but that first of all, that site was broken.
Yeah,
it worked very poorly. Yeah. And also, like, just it was incredibly aggressive. You could find out that you were on Portal of Evil from basic tracebacks. The one thing I don't do ever on the F Plus is we never link to our subjects. I always just don't have links. You have to copy paste it. But like, you could still find out about it from like Google searches or whatever. And when that happened and people came back into the fray, like they were in the shit. Like it was really pretty terrible, and sometimes they would come out okay. I remember there was a subject from kind of the time that I spent the most on there was a guy named Watch Children who was, for all intents and purposes, a pedophile.
Yeah, that guy was horrifying. I didn't.
Yeah,
and that was his thing.
But there were also, on the topic of to move on from that, and on the topic of terrible, the people coming from the sites, because there were link backs, you would get people who would come into the forums,
right?
And most of them were just like, "How dare you call me? How dare you make fun of me? How dare you make me evil?" But there were some people that would do that, and there would actually be some pretty funny stuff that would come from it. Like there was one guy called the Heartbreak Kid who was just this crazy weird. He was both like into new age stuff, like crazy super weird new age stuff, and write giant posts
on the forum would have been an exhibit in and of themselves.
Yeah, and as you could tell from the from his name, he was also into wrestling, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was about. I thought he just was really pretty or something.
Sure. But you would also get some people that would come over, and it was interesting to see the reactions. I remember, I forget the name of the exhibit, but there was this one guy who drew like pregnant Mega Man characters.
And that was G-Tron.
G-Tron. There you go. Thank you.
Or Gatron, the way they're spelled. I don't.
Gatron. Yeah.
Anyway,
but the thing is, he came over and he's like, "Yeah, this is pretty weird. I know, but I have fun with it. All right." And they just he would like be active on the forums, and everybody'd be like, "This is pretty weird, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I know," but he was like really chill about it. So you'd get a wide spread of people.
So I think that hopefully I'll have a couple of good show notes for you. But there was a piece that recently was in the New York Magazine by K-Thor, who is the other guy at Portal of Evil, and like it's kind of good. I wish it was longer. But I liked it as kind of like a dissection of a guy who like lives in New York, starts a website like making fun of weirdos on the internet, pays his rent with a website like making fun of weirdos on the internet, which is, impressive. That's not something that happens. Yeah. And then it's fun because he's making a website, and that's his job, and that's great. And then the website gets more successful, and the more successful it gets, like the less fun that is. Which is, I think absolutely how these kind of things go. You can reach a tipping point with success that it's like, oh, I don't like this anymore.
I agree. That is what happened with Something Awful.
There was something that Chet had written about that, although it was a post he put somewhere, in which he was getting tired of being threatened with lawsuits constantly.
Right. So, so from Portal of Evil, or kind of Portal of Evil news, but that's not something worth talking about. But
agreed.
Moving on.
But so from Portal of Evil, there ended up being a Team Fortress group that just kind of sprang out of nowhere. I'm not really sure how exactly that came about.
One of the guys there was just running a permanent server at all times, and it was available, and just on usually like Friday, Saturday nights, there'd be enough people there, and it was set up so that people on both teams could just chat with each other.
Yeah,
and it just sort of became more of a social thing than a taking the game seriously thing.
Right, yeah, we just none of us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we would just like nobody really cared who won or lost, or if the teams got scrambled or anything like that. Like nobody could give even less of a shit, except for random people that would find the server and then get mad at the rest of us for not taking it seriously enough.
And me and Kumquat.
And you and Kumquat, right? The super pro zone guys. Right. Frank West can go suck a cock. You guys are the best. Anyway, so since we were just talking the entire time, it just sort of turned into, and since we were all from the same website, we were looking at weird shit, it would just turn into, hey, I found a website full of weird shit, have someone read it while we're playing
I want to say, so in my memory, it was Aesir that started the idea of just like reading weird shit on the server, right? Because we had an aptitude of just, it was basically like Team Fortress was just it was a poker game, basically. Like, there was a game, but that was not really... Yeah.
Originally, like I said, the server was open, and so we, the voice was open, so both sides could hear everything. And we all collectively had a habit of pre-recording little snippets of whatever weird shit. Like, there's some kind of thing about fag bears or something. I don't even remember what.
A yard sale.
Yeah, or we'd have little sound clips and we'd start blasting them at each other. And then when some random person would come in, we'd find the weirdest thing we'd have and play that. I had like a pre-recorded monologue about how demons were time traveling faster than light entities or something. And
Sure.
And then there was somebody, I think it was French Toast, I may not be recalling correctly, but
I'm pretty sure it's me. I can
Used
tell
to-
my part of this when you're done.
used to play, would record stories and then play them. And then that sort of died out and people had an interest for it. So I volunteered, and not knowing that his stories were pre-recorded, I just sat down and read the whole thing in one shot live. And that was my Immortal.
So, yeah, that's the thing. I didn't pre-record those, or at least I didn't pre-record all of them. So, I don't know what happened. I was just on TF2 a lot with, the group Pokename and playing with it, and I don't know what brought it on. I guess it started getting late, and I had a copy of I Am Legend by Richard Matheson.
Oh, yeah, I was in that game.
And I just thought, it was silent in the room. Everybody was playing. I guess we ran out of stupid shit to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, why don't I just start doing a book on tape over the voice chat in this game for everyone? And then I did. And I read the entire book over a series of nights to everyone there. Just, when it was more silent and whatever. And that led to me also doing... I read the entirety of Sass Girls X.
Wow.
You read the entirety of that?
I read the whole thing.
Huh.
I did voices, goddamn.
I was not there for most of that.
I was very drunk for most of that.
I made it.
I remember
at
a bit
one point,
of that.
At one point, the stupid stoner character goes from being a stupid stoner to he says he's secretly British, and I switched to a British accent. British accent, I'm sure.
No.
That was the start of that, then, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Why did you say British accent like it wasn't in quotes?
Hey, I'm dedicated. All right, I work in my art. I'm random,
And it doesn't show.
Audiobooks Incorporated has been calling me every day, and I just close my phone. No, but I don't know if that was the start of reading the weirds of the reading. It was me, but I definitely did quite a bit of it, and I think that if I didn't start it, I think normalized it of oh yeah, we read stuff over the voice chat in our games. Mm-hmm. And then Aesir did read My Immortal, which was delightful. And that was a great performance.
That's where the noteworthy thing about that, if you want to call it that, is that I'd read all the typos verbatim.
Yep.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah, there's a bit of that on YouTube, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is. I still
so.
have the original mic feed, but you only hear my reading of that.
Yeah. So My Immortal is a million chapter Harry Potter fanfiction self-insert story.
Yeah.
There's a Mary Sue, and then she's in Harry Potter world, and then she has sex with My Chemical Romance. The
As
end.
one does in Harry Potter world.
That's all I remember, really.
You do.
No, there's an awful lot about clothes in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's definitely right. Yeah, no, fashion is described. Yeah, in
It's
detail.
mostly about clothes, and she only winds up banging one of the Harry Potter characters or something. I
There
don't
was
know.
orgies. Okay, never mind.
I
Nah.
believe she talks a lot about how she's gothic.
Yeah, yeah.
Gothic, actually, with
Gothic,
Fs.
Yeah.
Goffic. Gothic.
Do you think you could ask Tom and/or son for some help? Sure thing, I said. Sadly, I went outside the door. Draco was still there. He was wearing a big black GC t-shirt, which was his bananas.
Wait, what was that?
T-shirt. He's wearing a t-shirt.
A t-shirt to cover his penis.
What part of t-shirt don't you understand?
All the important parts, apparently.
Yeah, and My Immortal is one of those things, much like the Kling Film site, that could be fake, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
No.
I mean, there's 30 chapters of crazy
44 chapters.
Yeah.
It took me a little over 4 hours to read it that time.
Yeah, and there's so much of it. It's just endless that the person who went to the effort of doing all that is weird, regardless of it, whether or not.
Yeah, and that's my personal bar with it too, of like, if something smells like a troll, I'm probably not going to read it unless we're sort of in the moment and it occurs to me and whatever. But like that's the thing, is that like if you're putting that much, like, is it possible that Patrick 82 is a character? Yes, that's possible, but that's a weird thing to invest a lot of time into.
Yeah.
I think one of the common beliefs about My Immortal, which makes it a bit unique, is that it's likely that like the first couple chapters were done by a real person, and the rest of it was taken over by somebody else, which makes it a very fascinating thing if that's actually true.
The fucking Dread Pirate Roberts of fanfiction.
I am My Immortal. So
but also on TF2,
yep,
that was where you and I met, Lemon.
That's right.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't know if we're at this point yet, but that's when you said, you, like, from the readings and from that had been going on so long, and I think we've been doing, like, random readings, like, people have just been randomly reading stupid internet stuff, because we were all from Poe and we knew all that stuff at random times.
Well,
and then you said something about making a podcast.
Well, actually,
about
it. Before that, I did my first collaboration with Lemon.
That's right,
through TF2.
Yep,
sounds like a eulogy.
There was a guy from yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
there was a guy from Portal of Evil called Mike Tyson.
What do you mean was?
There will eternally be a guy from Portal of Evil called Mike Tyson, with an exclamation mark, then a question mark. And he, one time on it, asked one of the other members a question.
That video is still up, by the way.
And that video is still up. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, and
that'll be in the show notes as well.
I had the video. I had the audio of it recorded. There was a whole long conversation that went in a very bizarre way, in a very bizarre direction. And I just took little snippets of it and added music to it.
Right.
And then Lemon sent me a message and said, "Hey, do you mind if I put video on this?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So
fuck yeah, you mind?
Check out that video and see if it makes sense.
I watched that last month. I thought it was still funny.
Still very funny.
I remember it still being quite funny.
It stands up on its own.
My recollection of events is that like we had so many people that wanted to listen to the reading nights that people started requesting that we record them.
Oh,
that's right.
So, yeah, it was the Shedcast.
Because the server could only fit.
Yeah,
the server could only fit 24.
Yeah, because you can only do 2 teams of that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Actually, in fact, a member of the group called Turtle, he actually recorded some of the readings and some of the nights like that in a podcast called the Garbage Day Cabalcast.
Right.
Yes, and so
I still have that somewhere on my computer.
Well, yeah, we were all like, "Well, what's a good format to record a large audio file?" Oh, well, I guess I had honestly never heard the word podcast before, and I thought it was stupid. So I was like, I don't know. Okay, sure.
Yeah, when you guys first suggested it to me, I thought you guys were asking me for more stuff to read over TF2. I literally had no idea.
Well, and so we started recording, and I assume we'll link one of them in the show notes as well, but it was just somebody reading stories with 4 hours of TF2 game noise in the background.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which made no sense. I mean, like,
and it was fine.
It was very...
What
a
ridiculous thing to try to do.
No, it was very Ennio Morricone, like the sounds of the movie are in the background.
Yeah.
The soundtrack.
It was hilarious.
And one day, one of you messages me on Steam or whatever and says, "Hey, we're gonna do a reading night, but without the TF2." And I thought that was the stupidest fucking thing I'd ever heard. I was like, well, that's the whole fucking point. Play TF2, god damn it.
So I actually never got to play during a reading night, because the job I had, I would get home after the readings had started, and then it was basically impossible to get on the server.
Yeah.
So I always fucking hated reading nights. Like, I was like,
oh, sure, because you couldn't play the game.
Yeah, these fucking things, like, I can't get in and, like, hang out, because it was basically poker night, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like, well, I can't fucking get in, this is fucking stupid.
Yep.
But the thing was, if you'd kept trying, you would have gotten in, because the audio driver, whatever, could only handle so many people at a time.
Yeah, it would boot people.
So if you made a good joke, everybody would laugh and the server would crash.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, it was hilarious.
That's how you know you're doing well. You've crashed the server. Yes.
So we were doing that, and then so as we were kind of like doing I don't know, slightly more formalized readings. At that point, my girlfriend's dad was working at a school, and one of the things that he would do with students is he would, like, every time they would get sent to the principal's office, he would make them write a letter of why they got sent to the principal's office. And he kept all of these, and so one day, like, I was over at his house, and, like, I'm looking through these things, and I spent about 3 hours on his bed just, like, reading through this shit, and I was like, all right, like, I want to do something with this, like, I want this to be read. And that's episode 1, which, again, I recommend nobody listen to that.
I still like it.
I think it was a fine idea. I just don't think we did it right. I don't think anyone knew what we were doing.
We had no plan going into it.
No.
It was like, here's some shit. Read it. Go.
Right. Yeah.
And honest, we've never had a plan going into it.
No.
We didn't have a plan going into this.
No, we certainly didn't. Does it sound like it?
What was it?
You guys invited me to the first episode, and I hung around for a bit, and it was disjointed, and I didn't understand what was going on, and I eventually concluded, oh, I see what's going to happen. I see what's going on here. They're going to record Portax saying all this weird, stupid, gross shit, and they're going to turn it to mic spam, and then over next TF2, just out of context, it's going to be like, I want to fuck sneezing, and everyone's going to think I said that.
To be fair, that's still my plan.
Yeah, so I assume, yeah.
That was brilliant.
The long con.
Yep.
So yeah, like I think that, like, in those early episodes, like, it's weird because, like, a lot of our subjects in the early episodes are really, really good, but they're just kind of ruined by, like, just sort of, like, bad structure. Like,
bad structure, bad production.
Bad structure, bad production. Like,
not good jokes.
I mean,
people got kind of annoying voices. Yeah.
Not production.
And the only time that I feel particularly guilty about it is just when well-known food place comes back as a reference.
That's how a lot of our references are from very early episodes. Like, I actually have a very large head, and every single time I think about wearing a hat, the words "Sometimes I wish I was never born" come in my head.
I am the biggest in the world. Yeah.
Dude, I feel just like Ooh. I thought of killing myself too. Yay! I believe that I have the biggest, largest head in the world. I'm in high school too, and people stare and talk about me too. I can't, capital W, wear hats because of my head size. I can't really get a girl because the first thing they look at is my big-ass head. People have always made fun of my head when I was little. When I was in grammar school, it didn't really bother me. But now that I'm in high school, that's the only thing I think about. Sometimes I wish I was never born. Because of my head size, I am forced to live a different lifestyle than normal people. I hate going outside because I am afraid people are talking about me and staring at me. Sometimes I wish God would have gave me something else, like a big nose or big ears. But I feel I've been cursed with a really big head.
For a little while there, I was like, boy, I think Jack Chick made completely the wrong choice with that voice. And then all of a sudden I heard, sometimes I wish I was never born.
We'll do these callbacks to just really old episodes, and it just feels weird. Of like, yeah, you're gonna need to go 170 into the vault.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's gonna sound like shit. The jokes aren't gonna be great, but you know.
But you might get that reference in the end.
But that moment's
worth it.
But that moment where somebody says that they went into a well-known food place, which presumably, if we were to hit that at this point, it would just be completely glossed over.
I actually have a friend who listened to every single episode in reverse chronological order, and he said, and it was a rather interesting experience for him to slowly, like, the references would just kind of emerge out of the
Well, I actually that's the thing that tempers a little bit of that of like, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone on this, but like I've watched a lot of The Simpsons and a lot of Mystery Science Theater, and that means that you go through your life like working back through the references. Where, like, all of a sudden, like, you'll hear a David Bowie song and be like, oh, that's what the fuck they were quoting. All right.
Yeah, there's so many songs I knew first from Weird Al.
Oh, I bet.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I actually, like, I heard Spam before I heard Stand by R.E.M., and I remember being in Boy Scouts at, like, a Boy Scout camp thing, retreat or whatever, and we were doing some stupid craft thing that you always do because you're a Boy Scout. And I remember Stan came on the radio, and I'm just kind of cracking up alone there because I'm like, oh yeah, that's what this is talking about. that's pretty funny. But not to get too emotional or anything, but to go back to kind of what we were talking about,
it's an emotional time.
With the start, before I knew what the hell this thing would become, I just remember Lemon kind of coming to me and offering like, hey, we're going to try the thing without playing TF2. And I believe you asked me to be a co-host.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was like kind of, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know what the hell this is, but that's cool. I'm all for that. And that's why in a lot of the earlier episodes until like later on when life got in the way, that's why I was on every episode because I was the co-host.
Right.
And
Because
this weird little thing that you were leading.
Because doing vaudeville with you is ceaselessly entertaining to me.
It was very delightful. I enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah, well, like,
the one that sticks out of my head was the one where I ate that biscuit while I was talking.
Yeah, that was
you were
the best.
just completely disgusted. I think that's my favorite.
It's
Anyways.
like the ones that sometimes like going back. Like, some of the ones that hit me the hardest are things that I fucking hated at the time. And then, like, I'll go back and, like, listen to it. Like, there's that one episode that I wasn't around for, and then, Portax and Stog do the intro.
Whatever, we did amazing. Hey there, welcome to the F+. My name's Lemon.
And I'm John.
And, hey, John, do you like science?
I hate science. I live in a cave, and I think the sun needs to be blown up.
Alright, well, there's lots of science on the internet. Did you know the internet's made of science?
I'm gonna smash the internet with my bare hands.
Oh dear, well, there's lots of people here on these websites, and they've decided that, you don't really need to go to school to learn science. All you really need to do is just watch a movie, or just be a fan of a certain TV show, or even just, fuck a fleshlight that looks like an alien vagina.
I'm gonna beat them up.
Well, that's good. Today we have some science websites with science on them. And
I love science.
Hey, John, have you noticed that we've gotten strangely incompetent at this recently?
What's that mean? Let's go to our readers now!
Thank God. Let's have someone else talk.
Who's here in the room tonight? Okay, we've got Boots, we got Bunny Bread, we got Kumquat, we got...
Stog, that's how you do introductions.
Sometimes talk, Stog.
No, I like Stog's way of doing introductions.
Okay.
We got Smokestack on bass. We got
Okay.
Jimmy B on drums.
That is a disaster. That is
I need to listen
horrible.
to that again.
Finest intro in the history of
the thing
podcast.
is, so, like, for that
was
one,
great.
usually the intros would be recorded with nobody else in the Skype call.
Mm-hmm.
But for that one, Boots was like, well, okay, everyone can stay in for this so they can see it, so they can hear it happen, and so everyone had to shut up. And me and Stog did that, and something Boots cut out, which I really wish he left in, was after we did that fucking horrendous intro, there was a few seconds of silence, and Boots just goes, Jesus! Everyone else just bursts out laughing. Pretty much summed up.
What I like about the fact that we had everybody else in that episode is that you can hear people like grunting and moaning in the background of it.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Because I guess nobody knew how to mute their mics back then, because all you said was like, just mute your mics or be quiet and shit, and then they were just like, okay, and then you can still hear them.
You could definitely hear us on that one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and sort of to that end, I mean, that was why there's a break, and I don't even remember what episode it happens, but like, because we had kind of like intro bumper and end bumper, and then like recording session, and I know why we did that, but it still was not the right decision to make.
Yeah, like the vaudeville intros were very fun for a while, but it really got to a point where, especially when I was doing them with you, my natural instinct was to just say, "Oh, fuck this!"
Right.
Whenever you'd ask me what I was interested in that particular week,
and that frequently happened.
Yeah, that happened quite a few times.
I don't regret that we did them, because I think some funny stuff did come from some of those, but. At the same time, I gotta kind of say, after, like, at first when you said, like, oh, we're not doing the intros anymore, I'm like, oh, fuck, how are you gonna do that? It's, like, totally gonna break the podcast, it's gonna break the format, and how we're gonna introduce, and then, like, I listened to a couple without him, and I'm like, yeah, that was the right choice.
Well, like, I still don't know that's, like, it still feels weird to me that, because we're not that deep into the strategy, but having, directly reader intros like into the intro is odd, and that still feels odd to me, and I don't know what's better than that. But like to start blind with reader intros, I don't know.
I really like it, actually. I think it kind of sets the tone for the episode and moves it forward. Whereas the intro bumpers were always like, they always sounded really, really contrived and like
so intentionally.
We'll take one exception to that, is that if you guys were to ever do another, like, 1920 radio play thing again, I'd be all over that shit. Well, that was fucking amazing.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm hoping, I hope that the sort of facile intro that we do now is good enough anyway.
You would usually introduce, like, kind of what to the room, as before we read, you would kind of introduce the concept to us of, like, here's what we're reading, and so that would kind of serve as an intro, maybe a little bit delayed. But I have a very subjective reason for liking that we just go right into it, and is that I feel like in so many podcasts, it's like YouTube videos. You have this like there's like this some intro. It's like, oh, hey, here's the guy. Here's the thing I'm doing on this podcast. I'm gonna like just the intro, and I just so many times I feel like listening to them, just be like, just get to the fucking point.
So how did I manage to convince all of you people to fly to Minneapolis on your own dime to read shit in a stupid bar?
You didn't convince me to do it. Toast convinced me to do it. He's the hero here.
That's right. Actually, you didn't convince me.
Well, okay, you're right. You're right. How did I convince everyone but Ace here to do that?
So, to be fair, I didn't go to the first one either because of, I don't know, some stupid boring job thing. But
no, that's not.
You also thought it was going to be too nerdy, kumquat.
Wait. That is okay.
Nope. I went to the second one based solely on Poor Taxes and Jack Chick's endorsement that Stog was real.
Yeah,
that is true.
That is actually a big reason I went the first time. I had already been to Minneapolis once that year to meet Lemon for the first time, and I'd met actually quite a lot of the people through a cross country trip, but I had not met Stog.
Yeah,
and I needed to meet Stog, and meeting Stog was the most amazing experience.
Yep,
because he is real.
It was.
Can I tell you what is news to probably everyone but Boots? Mr. Stog, our friend Mr. Stog, he is emigrating into the fine city of Minneapolis.
Really?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He realizes that F Plus Live is just like a yearly thing. It's not an everyday thing, right?
It's gonna be fucking great.
Or did you lie to him?
Yeah, I don't know, because I haven't crossed internet into real life very often at all. And so, like, the proposition of doing that first F Plus Live and then, like, a whole bunch of, like, disembodied voices turning into flesh, was very strange.
No, believe me. I mean, not even voices. I mean, I think, Portax, I think I've known you the longest.
Yep.
Like,
joined Poe about a week within each other.
Yeah. And we had interacted for well over a decade.
Yep. Confirmed.
Around weird internet shit, and all of a sudden the prospect of this, this ethereal concept known as Portax.
Yeah.
It was.
And yet, Stog being real is what convinced you to go. I see how it is.
Yes.
Yep. You're not magical. Stog is magical.
So for me, it was actually like I didn't even have any like nervousness, trepidation about it until I got there. Yeah. Like it didn't even occur to me like I'm doing something potentially really fucking stupid. It was more like, well, I've been playing TF2 and then going and doing this podcast for a while, and it's been super fun. So fuck it, let's go do that.
Mm-hmm. I just say I did definitely have kind of that experience in stages because I actually met Stog. I think I met Stog before F Plus Live the first time. Yep. I met all of you because he actually, since we were both in Texas, yeah, that's right. So we were both in Texas. We actually just hung out because he was in the area, and yeah, the evening with Stog was quite delightful. But yeah, it definitely did have that feeling of like, well, this is kind of interesting that I'm doing this, and all of these people who were internet and video game voices in the world, they are now going to become real.
Yeah.
And then they became real, and I got drunk.
Oh yeah.
You can't hear it in the recording at all. Don't worry about it.
Oh boy,
I got very
get drunk.
I did. It's very true.
Yeah. Then Victor drove us to the Twine Ball. Did you make it to that toast?
Yeah, he did at my insistence.
I was hungover and nauseous off of Indian food on the van ride.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna do it, and then I
was there puke?
Yeah, I told him he had to do it.
No, thankfully no.
I was trying to convince the F Plus cast to go to the fucking pizza ranch, and everybody shot me the fuck down.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, because we all wanted to go to Chipotle.
Oh yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
So those weekends are so much fun for me.
Yeah.
And in addition to being really stressful.
Yeah.
They are incredibly stressful for me and really enjoyable at the same time. I remember actually the last one that we did. So it was all the people came in and we did the thing. And there was the pre-party the day before where I got super blasted. And then because there was a point where Boots took the microphone from me and then told me I should stop drinking and I should drink water. And then I went, I'm not drunk. And then I went, oh God, that's what drunk people say. So we did that weekend and then it was me and Boots and Frank West, and then Frank West left. And then me and Boots just laid on the couch and watched and got high and watched dance movies because the idea of alcohol was so repellent to us at that point. It was just like, yeah, no, it's couch. It's just couch and that's it.
Yeah. F Plus Live is, at least for me, an entire week hangover.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I took 3 days off afterwards.
Wow. But it was a very small crowd the first time, and a very relative, it was kind of a small group of ridiculous as well. But yeah. I remember what's sticking on my head, along with meeting everybody and seeing the Twine Ball and doing all that fun stuff, was I was like, oh, we're like doing a live show in person. It's like that's what like real podcasts do, like real shows that do real things do.
That's the only reason I went, because you all were like, no, we're gonna get together, and I was like, cool, have fun, I suppose. Like, no, you have to be there too. And I said, I don't think that's true. And then Toast said, no, they're reading stuff, like, in front of people. And I said, oh, they're not just hanging out, they're actually, like, recording a thing. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll find something, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I remember we had, like, 4 people in the audience total. or something
the first
like that.
one? Is that right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not good.
It was us.
I remember hitting the milestone of more audience members than readers.
Yeah, that was F Plus Live 3.
Yeah, that was
3,
yes.
yeah.
That's fine. That happens.
It was
And
great.
Lemon, talking about F Plus Live 1, I have a confession to make.
What's that?
When we did that intro where you talked about, I think the first food episode where you talked about the eating Ethiopian food with the spongy bread.
Yep.
I said, yeah. I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about until we went to that bar that we did the show in. And I'm like, oh, I see what he's talking about. Because that's where they had the Ethiopian food.
Our first 2 shows were at a Ethiopian bar that is finally closed in a move that should have been a surprise to nobody. So do you guys end up listening to this thing? Do you listen to this? Do you listen to it multiple times?
I listen to it quite often.
I do. I just, I'm not as good as keeping up with it, but I do listen to it. So I'm pretty current, right now. I think I'm 3 episodes behind and kind of halfway through a couple of them, but recently, I really, really liked how the Monster Girl episode turned out. It was gross as fuck, but it was one of those things that I remember after recording it, feeling this is super samey and boring, and it's just gonna be oh hey look, it's another fucking gross thing, and the way that it evolved ended up being so goddamn funny. I had to stop it multiple times in the grocery store because I was curled up next to the cabbages, laughing,
blasting it over.
I've had that experience too.
Nutshell, what does a Wikia contributor think of this?
You know, this lady remind me of quicksand, a very warm quicksand. You sink down in her until you drown in pleasure forever in her womb.
No, I mean, that's just like the Antlion girl.
I don't think so. Antlion girl drains you straight to death, I believe, while Lava girl lets you soak in a pleasuring bath for as long as you have left to live.
I agree with you, but I just like slimes!
You said you like slime, so does this mean quicksand is slimy?
How is slime related to quicksand?
Nothing, it's just a comparison. I mean, the way the H scene goes and how Luca get gradually covered by the lava or sink into remind me of quicksand.
I am amazed there were no comment for this one. Well, anyway, she looked strangely kind of cute, and there was something that was bugging me.
What was that?
How hot is she actually when she get you? I know Luca was describing how it feel in her, so is this wiki as well, but when it's, say, as hot as a vagina, frankly, I don't know what it means.
No shit.
No, you
is
don't.
It as hot as a hot spring or lower O_O question? Sorry if you use the word hot so many times, although no one can blame me for this.
I mean, I can.
Since she is lava, it would be hot, but not hot enough to kill somebody.
That is what I am curious about, lol, just imagining how hot it be. Does it take for incontinence to kick in anyway?
Where are they getting the fucking incontinence from?
From themselves.
That is always the thing that I'm thinking about during recipe episodes of that first recipe episode that we did was the first episode that I was in love with. That I was like, yes, this is perfect. Everything about this great. And then every time that we'll do another recipe episode, it's like, fuck this. How do we not hit the same points? And then it works.
For the second recipe episode, we accomplished that by having. Oh yeah, Boots really liked that for some reason.
For a minute,
I'm really excited though. I'm really excited about the concept of taking okay, so I have a cup of corn syrup, but it's not quite sweet enough. Let me add a cup of sugar to that corn syrup.
Yes.
And that's not enough, so I can add sweetened peanut butter.
Yeah, I know. What doesn't have enough sugar already?
He advises that you never use reduced fat peanuts.
Oh, of course.
Choosy moms choose to give their kids diabetes.
There are 5 reviews on this. 3 of them are 5 stars. 1 of them is 3 stars. That's fine and good. Obviously, these people are insane. But this person is something is broken about this person because this person gave it 1 star. But their review starts with, "I had such high hopes for this recipe."
You and me both, sister.
"I love the way sweet and salty and savory mix all together." Oh, and this is Jessica, the 50 53,214th person on the internet named Jessica, who worries that this recipe just didn't work for her because the texture of the quote-unquote sauce was off.
What sauce?
What did you expect?
It was off compared to all the similar recipes.
This is the worst cookie sauce I've ever had.
Oh man, the last two statements here are amazing. Just a peek into Jessica's psyche.
Didn't blend. It just tasted like corn chips and extra sweet peanut butter.
Really?
And then she apologizes.
Yeah, she says at the end of that, she says sorry. I mean, way to blame the victim here, like it's your fault.
I'm so
that
sorry.
these corn
I
chips
had high
are
hopes
sweet.
for this recipe.
I am sorry that sweetened peanut butter on corn chips tasted like sweetened peanut butter and corn chips.
You know, I think this proves that the 50,000 models of Jessica's we just need to scrap it. It's
I like
bad
I like
batch.
I like the
I had
first
high
one.
hopes for the steak, but it tastes too much like beef.
I'm sorry. God, yes, I have to read this first one by D. We didn't read this, did we?
Oh, go
Or
right
did we
ahead.
comment?
Spread the joy.
We make these a lot, but we call them Fritos dessert.
Oh, Jesus.
They made it so much they give it a nickname.
Tries to eat them.
It gets better.
But you have that after Frito's dinner.
Yes. Never use reduced fat peanut butter. The sauce gets too hard. Add a little extra peanut butter to get more flavor.
Oh,
Add the one flavoring agent.
And for a little extra treat, sprinkle milk chocolate chips over the warm topping. Best eaten when still warm.
Just shovel
Take
it
that for
out
a
of the
second.
oven into your mouth.
I just want to throw up.
You're
Don't
supposed
use
to let
the
it cool and break into pieces, and they're eating it warm. They literally just scooping out handfuls of dripping food and
Peanut butter on
chips.
chips. I can resist.
I want us to savor the sentence. We make these a lot, but we call them Fritos dessert.
And then follow that directly with best eaten when still warm.
I like that they sprinkle milk chocolate chips on it, so it's just like, this peanut butter on Tostitos tastes great. You know what? It could use chocolate. Get some whipped cream on there too. Like, let's get some fucking Rolos. Let's just put that in a big fucking vat and have some fucking Texas pie with it.
Hey Martha, go turn on CSI Omaha and get me some Fritos dessert.
Chase that down with a strip and go naked and fucking.
Anything that you have to cool and break into pieces is basically candy. And they're saying best eaten when still warm. I.e., it hasn't cooled and hardened into candy, so you can't break it into pieces. So you have to grease your hand first.
No.
Scoop it out.
No, what you do is you just go to the shed and you get a fucking spade and you just shovel that shit right in.
This is good cookie magma.
Wait for it to cool.
I'll tell you how we topped that first recipe episode by doing a fucking recipe episode in person where we had to eat the gross bullshit. in
That
the
was pretty
recipe
amazing.
episode.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't have to eat the bullshit. Oh my god.
That's why it's so amazing.
Christ.
Well, no, the other way you top it is have Bunny Bread do a Paula Deen impression. And that he just doesn't stop improv.
There's a visual component that's missing to that San Francisco episode.
Oh my god.
Which
the peanut sauce looked to quote a wise internet sage, looked like poo-poo.
Yeah. I remember the next morning after that one, Lemon and I were sharing a hotel room in San Francisco. And I plugged in my laptop. And I plugged in my laptop, my headphones, and I just queued forward to the point where we all bit into that Dorito sandwich. And I was so happy that sound was perfectly clear because that was the most important thing of that episode.
Yeah.
Hey, you played it twice.
All right, so we're gonna do this. Ooh, Jesus! All right.
Ray, take a nice big bite.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Oh my god!
You can really taste the butter.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. But no, so listening to the podcast, I listened to the podcast for two reasons.
Why is that?
I listened to the podcast, one, to hear how drunk I was during that night.
Sure.
For episodes I'm in. And then for episodes I'm not in, I listen to hear all my friends to hear the stupid shit they do. So the ones that I'm not in, I'm surprised by the stuff that happens. And
the ones
so
that you are in, you're also surprised by the stuff that happens.
That's fair, yeah. So the only time I've listened to an episode and nearly come perilously close to actual mortal physical harm was F Plus Sings, the episode.
Yeah.
I was traveling at a high rate of speed down Highway 101 north of San Francisco.
That's not actually possible.
Well, I was on a motorcycle at the time, so it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm listening to this, and all of a sudden, into my ears comes the dulcet sounds of Jack Chick Esquire in the fantastic musical production of Justin Hadabaw's what was it called? Immortality?
All right.
Sometimes I feel like an immortal, like I changed completely. Teleportation through a secret portal.
Oh, yeah.
As a rap.
I don't like this Andrew Dice Clay musical.
Oh, yeah. And you expected to, I'm sure.
As a rapper right now, I'm at the bottom of the sea. Yeah, just another piece of coral.
Coral. What fucking style guide is it that says you have to keep adding more and more syllables to each line before you can rhyme it?
I have a pretty fucked up moral.
Oh, reset.
Yeah, I can write rhymes, but most of my shit is oral.
No.
Nice.
But I guess this can be a starting point. I'm not some wannabe gangster. I don't rap about smoking a joint. I just say whatever is on my mind. Sometimes I gotta dig deep. Yeah, some of my shit is hard to find. Always living in the now, never going rewind. This is where all my lyrical thoughts are combined.
Why can't a woman be more like a man?
Underwater Coral, the musical.
It did have that Pirates of Penzance feel to it.
Yeah. Gilbert and Sullivan.
I'm an immortal. It was
something like
it was
that.
Goth rap, right?
Yes, the supposed goth rap.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. I started laughing so hard that I started to tear up, and I started to laugh so hard that when you're wearing a motorcycle helmet, it fits very tightly,
right.
And I started to laugh, which made my cheek pads bunch up, and I couldn't see. And all of a sudden, a corner in the freeway approached, and I nearly died. That was so fucking funny.
You realize that would have been a hell of a memoriam episode if the podcast fucking killed you?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes. I would have been a coral at the bottom of a sea.
Oh my god, it would have been like a Sonny Bono kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'd have to do an episode about Kumquat, and then we'd have to make sure it's not that funny so he doesn't kill any more people, and it would just be
What?
You asked if we listen to this thing that we do.
Yeah.
I will tell you what, I listen to it quite a bit. I used to listen to it pretty often. In fact, I have a separate podcast app, mainly so that I can keep archived episodes so I can listen to them, because my main one that I use for podcasts that update, that do it's not good at archiving them, just getting in new episodes. So I have a separate app installed.
So you have an incognito session for the F+.
Yeah, basically. But I have it so that it's really good at displaying all the old episodes and downloading them. So I have that separate one installed, just so I can either have a bunch of old episodes saved, and also that I can just, oh yeah, this old episode, I want to listen to this again. I can re-download it.
Right.
That's how much I listen to our show.
Yeah, I've always felt I don't know, I've personally it's the show that I've always wanted to do. It's the show that makes me happy, and that's the only criteria that matters. But I think it's odd that what we have is definitely unequivocally not the most popular podcast there is.
I don't know. What? You don't say.
Yeah. But uniquely, it's a replay friendly one. And when I'll read stuff about people listening to ones again and stuff like that, and I feel like that's rare-ish, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's because our episodes and what we do, you've got up and down episodes, I think in general they're all pretty great. I can usually find general episodes I like. But I think our episodes are, because of what we read, how we read it, the format, they're very dense, both with material and with jokes.
And in that they're stupid.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Wasn't going to say that, but sure.
They're dense in that way.
Except for the WikiHow episodes.
Right.
Very
that
smart.
was educational.
Yes.
But, another podcast, maybe they'll go over one or two things, or they'll go over some subjects, but it's just kind of them. It's like, oh, what do you think of Star Wars? They'll just, just kind of regular discussion.
Oh, they kind of ramble.
But, they just kind of ramble like I'm doing right now. Mm-hmm. But our episodes, there's stop points of, here's when we read this thing, here's the jokes we made of that, here's, when we went off on a tangent or a skit based on that. There's just so much in each episode that it's sometimes I didn't catch stuff until I re-listened to them.
I should sort of just point out that there's still, I think, only one other podcast I know of that does the same sort of thing that we do.
And that's Lou.
And Lou started the same week that we did.
Lou started the exact same week that we did.
I did not know that.
And that
proves creationism? I agree.
Yeah. Finally someone said it.
Intelligent design.
Here, hold on to this banana.
Well, let's not go intelligent. Let's not go too far.
I think the one of the and we'll probably touch a little bit more on this in part 2 of this retrospective, but I think one of the things that I've always struggled with is taking a grasp of I don't necessarily want to be more popular than other people, and so I will confess that right. My initial reaction to finding out about Lou Rees was what the you're stealing from me my intellectual property, and then I listened to it and got such an appreciation of the thing that he does, and there's still ones that are because of the way that show is set up, the fact that he can go so deep into shit that is so disgusting. I mean, he's done Bug Chasers more than once. You know what I mean?
Most people don't, so I guess that's a record for him.
Hey!
Hello.
If we were doing the best joke of the episode rule, then we would bow out right there.
All right, everybody stop.
Are there moments that strike you? Are there ones that you you're doing dishes or whatever and you think about some specific line or some specific moment?
Yeah. That was the episode about the romantic bits of literature. And Bunny Bread has a habit of just going off on tangents.
Does he?
Not exactly tangent. Oh, I know what a shocker, right? And he was reading this Bunker 13 thing and just started trying to get into a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And my wife will sometimes still go, she has a lovely mouth. Just like he did, because
This is Bunker 13 by Annie Rosa Bachal by Faber und Faber. She is taking off her blouse. It's on the floor. Her breasts are placards for the endomorphically endowed. In spite of yourself, a soft whistle of air escapes you. She's taking off her trousers now. They're a heap on the floor. Her panties are white and translucent. You can see the dark hair sticking to them inside. There's a design as well. You gasp! Gasp, I say!
God, it's written in second person. I can't believe it's written in
gasp!
Second person.
Everyone, gasp! No!
More likely.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you. What's
she shows
that?
you her vagina. You are likely to be eaten by a group.
Don't read ahead.
Wrapper and cling film. That's always the right choice.
Oh, shush, we save that till the end. The cling film is at the end.
Oh, that's it. Why bother reading anymore? Okay. What's that? You ask.
Second person.
You see a designer pussy. The designer pussy does not notice you yet. What you do? North, west, east, south. Run. Okay. You cannot run. Designer pussy fucks you.
You have scored 3 points out of 210.
Anyway, you see the designer pussy. Hair razored and ordered in the shape of a swastika.
Oh,
the
no.
Aryan denominator.
Oh, God.
That would take some skill.
Carefully vajazzled.
Stick it in my Hitler hole.
As your hands roam her back, her breasts, and trace the swastika on her mound, you start feeling like an ancient Aryan warlord yourself. She sandwiches your nozzle between her teeth.
Nozzle?
Yes, a nozzle. What do you call it?
A robot in
Penis?
Wolfenstein.
I just like to point out, in spite of what you say, none of this is happening right now.
It is. It's happening to all of us.
She sandwiches all of your nozzles between her tits. Massaging
I'll
it.
never be able to use that sink again.
Oh, no.
Massaging it with a slow rhythm. A trailer to bookmark the events ahead. For now, she has taken you in her lovely mouth. Oh. Your palms are holding her neck and thumbs are at her ears, regulating the speed at her head as she swallows and then sucks up your machinery. She is topping out your engine oil for the cross-country coming up. Your RPM is hitting a new high. To wait any longer would be to lose prime time. She picks up a Bugatti's momentum. You want her more at a Volkswagen steady trot. Squeeze the maximum mileage out of your gallon of gas. But she's eating up the road with all the cylinders blazing. You lift her out. You want to try different kinds of fusion. Very many asterisks. The end.
Well, and that's sort of like the essence of the F Plus podcast distilled into a nugget for me.
Yeah. The other bunny bread one that I think about a lot is Baby Drug Pusher.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a thing. For
Try it.
No, just try it. Try it.
You do math.
You do math.
I had a teenage neighbor who used to baby minus sit for my husband and me until I found out she was doing drugs.
Okay.
Oh, no.
The baby, of course.
Yeah.
I think that's the babysitter's fault, really. If you're babysitting a child and the child's doing drugs, I think that's on you.
The baby introduced the babysitter to this kind of shit. The babysitter was doing really well till then.
What are you, chicken?
Now just try it. Try it, Melissa. You like it. Yay! You do meth. Yay, meth. Yay! You like it. You run around now. You run around like me. We run around. Yay! Best friends.
Could the rest of the episode just be this?
I love Baby Drug Pusher.
Anyway.
Yeah, so Baby Drug Pusher. Or wait, what's happening?
Yeah, Baby Drug Pusher. Really, we could just done this entire recording of just stuff we like that Bunny Bread said.
Oh my god!
No fucking nothing. Yeah.
The one from the Body Mod episode where he's doing like Sweetums from the Muppets, talking about like cutting the frenulum on his penis.
Yeah. If you're okay, so thank you for getting this far in the podcast, and now here's a clip you're going to enjoy. Hey guys!
Hey!
Hey! So I've been depressed lately, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Hey!
Because I just had the best idea, and I've just been pumped all day. Okay, hey!
Hey!
I'm looking to cut the frenum on my dick. Oh no!
The frenum?
The frenum.
Yeah, I'm looking into cutting the frenum on my dick so I can pull the foreskin back all the way.
Oh, sure.
Is there easy and at the same time safe way to do it yourself? Wait. Is there an easy and safe way to do it yourself without going to the doctor?
Well, yes and yes.
If so, share. I'm up for anything as long as it's safe.
Because I'm all about safety. That's why I'm here.
I'm going to cut the frenum of my dick.
Yay! The frenum.
So, I'm Eggstein. So, I will describe my method times as I remove my frenulum.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Everyone
Jesus.
must, of course, know what he wants. The frenulum preparation removes frenulectomy. Frenulectomy. I can only recommend. The advantages are 1. The foreskin can move further back. It is a major hub for the possible and masturbation. The foreskin is moving.
I think that masturbation falls within the realm of the impossible.
I'm imagining, the one Muppet that's like a full bodysuit that like walks around.
Oh, Tiny. Yeah.
And now now he's cutting his own penis.
Oh yeah, the one that like the mouth descends like a drawbridge or something. Yeah. Okay.
2. The penis looks better because the foreskin folds almost pull it backwards. My penis was hideous until I did this. 3. The penis is a much better clean. I have the frenulum with 3 interventions themselves completely removed by the following method. Prerequisite is clean and sterile. Hands and penis thoroughly wash and sterilize the intervention agency.
Everything else in my body is fucking filthy.
It's disgusting. I roll around the mud all day.
You gotta use your hands and your penis to thoroughly wash and sterilize.
Use your penis to wash your hands.
Washing the scalpel with my penis.
First, I have the penis for about a 5-minute in ice water bath. Then you notice the cut knot.
Oh wow, you are getting more of a caveman all the time.
After the sterilization of frenulum, I use a sharp pair of scissors. With a pair of scissors, cannot slip. What? The frenulum in the middle up to the glands, lower passing through.
Thanks for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
The glands or glands.
If you're a city folk. It bleeds a little. Do not panic. This is normal when you cut the frenulum.
Hang on, I cut my dick open for some reason.
There was blood underneath.
What? Did I do something wrong?
No.
Penises
want to bleed. It's just their natural state.
What
Next.
a weird side effect.
Next.
What does blood have to do with dicks?
Next, I have sterile gauze rolls inserted into the wound and the foreskin closed. Wound glued otherwise.
Wait, he says...
I just covered my penis in Gorilla Glue. That solves the problem.
He said
Then I masturbated for a little while. Now I have a problem. Typing with one hand.
He says wound glued otherwise, which is in the past tense. So does that mean that this was attempt number 2?
Yes. This is about like number 7 or something.
Okay, now I'm not freaked out about the blood anymore.
First thing I used to glue it back together was like melted gummy bears. That didn't work. Don't recommend that.
Okay.
Then I used some more blood. It turns out that didn't work. Then I took the foreskin with a sticking plaster strips and a sealed condom pulled over. If still little blood comes out, which was not the case.
What?
The next morning, I cautiously opened the foreskin. This is the first time I've been cautious in my life about anything. Right now, I decided to be cautious. The bleeding had stopped, by the way, and urinates after further disinfect the wound. I used piss to disinfect the wound. A new gauze rolls and brought back the foreskin closed. But as I patched...
to disinfect the wound so far, his best idea.
Yeah. But as I patched the booklet easy to urinate can open...
This is a Mad Lib at this point.
After a week, the wound has healed so well that I could resist gently masturbate.
You can resist your gently masturbation?
Up until then, he's been gently masturbating.
Now I can keep my hands off.
Yeah. Well, the blood stopped. I guess
Incidentally, pain R limited is easily bearable. After a few months after the wound had healed well, I have only the rest of the frenulum on the glands bottom. Excuse me, glands bottom. And after the well was healed on the inside of the foreskin in the same way away. Ultimately, I have, so to speak, a triangle cut out. With the result, I am very satisfied. The operation is now 30 years back!
What?!
So I think this can be assessed. By the way, I'm 32 years old.
Okay, well, we can circumcise your child, or we can get a little bit more creative.
Well, creative. Please, go on.
I don't want my son to have unattractive penis. You make it pretty. I hate all that frenulum.
Didn't you enjoy that? Of course you did.
Well, there's one thing, it was kind of almost just a running gag, but it was mainly just to one episode, and I really enjoy, I'll just think of it every once in a while. It was just the, on the unmothering, unschooling, whatever episode, just the running gag that Portax had, like, I'm this, and I'm a huge cunt.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked it. At least one person does, apparently.
So
just the relish that you proclaim that you are.
I'm learning.
The thing that I occasionally use in everyday conversation accidentally without realizing that everybody everybody doesn't list to stupid internet bullshit.
Right.
Occasionally, I will just say in conversation, "I'm skinny." Bye.
Yeah. Another one
kind of
that
fit your character.
Another one that's really old, but like it's really appropriate.
Well, and that's the thing about being exposed to stupid bullshit on the internet over a course of decades is, patterns emerge.
Right.
And the pattern of somebody popping into a forum thread and being like, this doesn't apply to me at all. I don't have your problem. Goodbye. It was the perfect summation of that thing. And so now I say that in response to that happening in real life, like in a meeting at work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I absolutely do that all the fucking time. So, I couldn't get my code to compile. I don't have that problem. Goodbye.
The other thing that, and this is the F+, this is also Portal of Evil, this is just living the life that I've lived, is that you'll be in these conversations where someone will be like, a furry? What's a furry? And then you have to, like, you can't. It's impossible.
You have to explain it. Yeah.
I've told myself, like, I'm not going to do that this one time. Like, I'm not going to explain to fucking Nancy, like, what a balloon fetish is. But no, I just like, okay.
Yeah, I once accidentally found myself in a situation where I needed to explain otherkin to my aunt.
Right.
Don't do that.
That's a story.
We have a new hire at work who I was talking to him, and he was about just his personal life. He was like, "So I'm okay. Have you ever heard of a bear?"
You should have put your hands on the front of your cheeks and been like, "Oh my, what?"
I was just like, oh, honey, you have no idea.
Did you start doing the choreographed dance of Bear Force One?
Should have. I would say
I'm not going to tell you I didn't see that.
something that if we're talking about like really early episodes, obviously one thing that I love that everyone that I've shown the podcast who loves is the original genesis of Fat Voice, where he's talking about 5-star Bagley.
Yes,
I remember I showed that to someone, and he was listening to it, and he thought it was like he cracked up every single time Toast said burgle. He just thought that was the funniest fucking thing in the world. And then after listening to it about 3 times, he finally caught on that at one point he says, it's to pack on precious pounds. And he's like, wait, pause that shit, pause it. And it's what? He goes, wait, so the point of the recipe is to intentionally gain weight? And I said, yeah. And he goes, oh my god, you have to play this 10 more times now. I see this in a whole new light. Holy shit. And then he started listening to the podcast, so.
5-star Bagley, 1,020 calories. Ingredients used: Smucker's brand strawberry jelly, 2 tablespoons, 100 calories. Nutella spread, 2 tablespoons, 190 calories. Jiffy brand peanut butter, 2 tablespoons, 190 calories. Butter, 2 tablespoons, 200 calories. Cool Whip Light, 2 tablespoons, 50 calories.
You mean the light stuff?
Hard.
Sara Lee brand blueberry bagel, 1 bagel, 290 calories.
Because a normal bagel would just not be fat enough.
Why does she know how to spell bagel at that point?
1. Toast bagel to preferred
idea.
temperature or not at all. 2.
Wait,
Apply spreads to bagel in any order or even leave undesired spreads.
Did that mean you could leave the bagel out entirely?
Oh.
Though this may be a chore to apply 2 tablespoons of each apred to the bagel. An easier way to apply them is 1 tablespoon to each half bagel, or even just make them lumps on the bagel to keep the flavors separate or having difficulty. Number 3, enjoy the multitude of wonderful flavors as you pack on precious pounds.
Actually, do you guys want to hear the storied process that I went through to create Fat Voice?
Sure, it's a long process.
Yeah, I tried to do a Plinkett voice and I fucked up.
Like Plankton from SpongeBob?
No, Plinkett.
Plinkett!
Plinkett!
No, from the Star Wars reviews.
Oh, okay.
Harry S. Plinkett.
Speaking of really early references that have sort of stuck with us, though I don't know why it is, but that was one of our very first episodes. Squiddy was reading the thing about different flavored man pops.
Yeah,
like different sauces to put on a dick before giving it a blowjob, I guess.
Yep.
And every once in a while I note I remember that my ball pit profile says barbecue man pop.
Yep.
So I got one more important question to ask, which is so we're now, I don't know, 200 and change in. Do you think that the internet does it still surprise you?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No? Okay. Well, I want to hear both answers.
Well, so yes and no. Like it does not surprise me in that, given the infinite array of objects that can exist in the universe, somebody will masturbate to them.
Right.
Yeah. What, arrays? Hell yeah, they're fucking hot.
Yeah. So that it never surprises me when somebody, finds a way to get turned on by some stupid bullshit.
Right.
The things that surprise me always end up being crazy people nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if the Have It Told Real Time guy, have we put that on? Has that been released as a?
Yeah, that was.
Have It Told Real Time is a part of another episode. It was kind of in the Netflix episode. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but like stuff like that guy or the Laura Ingalls Wilder guy. What was his name?
Charles. The end.
Yeah, that guy. Or Basil Marceau or Connie Marshall, or like because those people are, sort of in our plane of existence, kind of. They come up with the most ways to consistently surprise me.
Yeah. It's like, furries have been in existence well before Portal of Evil, for that matter. They're not surprising. People like jerking off to various things, completely not surprised. For anything, somebody's getting off to it. Big deal. However, I never saw Otherkin coming. That caught me by surprise. And
the multiple systems and tulpas and the
multiple systems
things,
did not, because I knew people faking that shit since like 92. But anyway.
Oh, Sybil, sure.
Actually that's really, it went from multiple personality disorder to satanic ritual abuse, entirely faked. That's a meandering monologue for another time. The ones that always get me, much like Kumquat, is actually the nutters, because I mean, they find really weird tangents to go with it, but it's also that laser-like focus on a very specific topic, and you can just look at that and go, how the hell did you even arrive at that conclusion? And I get completely fascinated. I want to know more. Particularly people who get really weird and in-depth about religion, for instance, or misunderstanding science, because, well, they're both topics that are somewhat near and dear to me, and it's just mind-blowing.
But I would say, actually, to that end is why I'm still not bored of fetishes. And in fact, like, I know for a fact that, like, one episode that we will be doing at some point soon is an amputee fetish. Because that's in the hopper, and that is pretty remarkable. And another one, again, I know this will be read, but there is a document that it will be our most disgusting episode. It is called Acne Lovers.
That's the point I wanted to bring up. Is that I think the thing that surprised me about this is that in the past there were fetish sites, right? And if you were a person that had fetishes, you'd go on there and you'd post a thread about your fetish. And now all of those threads have become their own sites. And you'll find a site for watch fetish people, and you'll find a site for lift and carry people, and there'll be competing sites where the different people have very specific versions of their lift and carry fetishes. I was like, no, men do not carry women; women carry men.
The exhaust smokelovers.php.bb3.
That's a good point, because there was kind of a middle in the podcast where I got very cynical, and I said, the internet is dead. The only content now is on Facebook and Twitter and these stupid bullshit social media sites, and nobody has websites anymore.
Right.
And I got very sad about, that's why we don't have Portal of Evil anymore, because the website is dead.
Yep.
But
Weebly's ads would beg to differ.
It's actually not true. If anything, it's actually sort of intensified the weirdness on websites, because people go to, blow your exhaust smoke in my face.php.bybb3.com and they feel freer. They feel freer to post videos of themselves with a gas mask hooked up to a motorcycle with exhaust smoke going into it.
What?
Well, it's not just that. Like, there's also fucking clips for sale now, right? Like, anything you want, like, somebody will be like, I'll fucking videotape myself for this, fucking pay me. Like, but, I mean, the thing that strikes me, and that why I'm actually always continually surprised by this, right, is when we first got on the internet, on Poe, a million years ago, it was sort of, the new sort of thing coming to the world. And now that, you have people who have grown up with the entire collected works of human knowledge in front of them. They can access practically any information they want, and they go on Yahoo Answers and can't manage to spell penis correctly. Like, the world is your fucking oyster, and you're like, I can't find anywhere on the internet to increase my penis size.
Yeah, it's definitely Web 2.0 with, 1.0 people.
Right, yeah.
But I will say that the internet still continues to surprise me. And here's the thing. I'm still surprised by the internet by the episodes that come out on the F+. Yeah. And so here's the thing, like, in joking or talking about it, it may seem like I'm being cynical. It's like, oh, there's a fetish. Like, oh yeah, of course there's a fetish for that. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's probably not really a fetish for that. That's the joke that everything has a fetish. And then an episode comes out where people have a fetish for watches, and I'm like, that really is real. Huh. Well, okay. Or it's like, or like a whole forum for ice chewers. I'm like, okay, that is really real? Like, what? And so I'm continually surprised by episodes, by material that comes out where I'll listen to the episode and just be like, wow, like this was like the thing I would joke about as being a real thing, and it's a real thing.
Well, lift and carry is actually a perfect example of that. Like the whole like, men don't carry women carry men. Like otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
One of the episodes I re-listen to most often actually is the fucking F-list episode because
that one's great.
Lord.
That one is,
is that where they list our episodes?
So good.
Yeah.
Right, that's why I listen to it. I want to hear
the fetish list or the furry list.
That one. One of the things that I know about the F-list episode is like how funny something can get by being gross, and also like up until recording the F list, I was like, Adam Bozar is a funny guy, and then we did the F list, and I was like, holy shit!
Sex
Finally, boy meat.
I don't think anyone has boy meat.
I can do it.
I don't think anyone has boy meat.
All right, take it.
Not in this room.
Boy meat! Hyper hung!
I'm sorry, you scared me.
What?
No, that's a terrible voice. Throw it out. Try again.
My name's Boy Meat. Hyper hung shot a male looking for mature women. Girls his own age or teenagers who are curious if the rumors they've heard about what little Danny is hiding in those baggy shorts of his are as true or not.
Oh my God.
Every scene will be considered with female characters, but please mind the kinks. PM if interested. No males.
Love you, boy meat.
Guess what, nerd? It was funny, Congress.
I believe that was Boy Meat, wasn't that? Wasn't that episode?
Yeah. You were pronouncing that way wrong.
What was it ever?
Yeah.
Boy Meat.
Yeah.
See, I just can't do it justice. That's why I didn't even try.
No. And that episode to me exemplifies many things. It exemplifies the sort of it's the fetish matrix, I believe, was the term in it.
Yep.
And it really is, because it's sort of given the infinite array of stupid bullshit people can come up with.
Right.
Somebody's claiming that they masturbate to it.
Yep.
And also, the advent of Boy Meat was a turning point in the podcast, I believe.
There's two periods of my life, pre-Boy Meat and post-Boy Meat.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Should we keep doing this? Another 200?
No.
All right.
Only if we have Boy Meat.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty all right with it. I'm pretty cool with
As long as I keep getting my stipend of dumpster juice.
I think you mean balloon juice.
Can you mix up with the balloon juice? Yeah, fuck.
I win.
Let's all make the same joke.
So, thanks a lot for this little memory lane trip. We're going to be doing a part 2 with Nutshell, Bunny Bread, Victor Laszlo, probably Adam Bozarth, and Stog. Anything you want to put at the end? Any final thoughts?
Where are the TF2 noises?
Taken out for good reason.
Captain Profanity, can I ask you a question?
Stab.
Thanks for sticking with us. Let's keep going. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 I love you.